See, I know what it's like to go through the motions, and I know what it's like, man, to have the pressure of acting and talking and looking a certain type of way and fitting in with certain groups and crowds and cliques of people, and the pressure from the community and the pressure from the people around us, the pressure from those peers wanting us to maintain these images. And man, if we were 100% real, raw, truthful, and honest, even though we don't like to admit it, man, we care so much about what people think about us. And if we're not careful, we find ourselves trying to meet the expectations of everybody else. And it's not wrong to have people have expectations on us. But at the end of the day, man, if you're only focusing on what you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to become, it's going to have all this anxiety attached to it because we fall short. And I had to learn the hard way, man. We are all beautifully broken somehow, some way. We've all got stuff, man. And it's not about you being perfect. And it's not about your performance all the time. It's about daily progress, because nobody can judge you if you're applying yourself with your effort. You only know you. And you can sell yourself short this year if you want to. And you can cut the corners if you want to. And you can do just enough to get by if you want to. But I promise y'all, man, as you guys grow up and as you continue to mature and as you look back in the rearview mirror of your life, if you don't take control and understand that this is your moment, and if you don't take control of this, man, regrets, thoughts of, man, I wish I should have and I could have, and only what if, they will come alive. But man, you're at a place and a space in all of your lives right now that you control your destiny and nobody can take it from you. And I want you to dream big and dream outlandish and set goals and benchmarks that seem sometimes even too far to attain, because I promise you, your dreams and your goals, they shouldn't come easy. And if dreams and goals and things you want to pursue and things you want to become, if they're coming easy, I'm challenging you to step the bar even higher, because you can press yourself and you can grow. And it's tough, man. Grow and change and becoming the better you, it's not comfortable. Nobody likes to be uncomfortable, but change takes change. And nobody can change without being a little bit uncomfortable. And the reason a lot of us don't change our attitudes, our behaviors, how we treat each other, is because we don't like to be uncomfortable. It's easier to go back to being who we've always been. But man, that's never going to give you your destiny. I'm passionate about these things, man, because I mean it. I've lived it. I've walked both sides of the aisle. A lot of y'all know that. If you don't remember exactly, I come from a broken family. My mom and my dad set me down at a young age, and my dad was ripped out of my life, and he was my icon, and he was my mentor, and he was my role model, and he was yanked out of my life. And man, I blamed him for all of my hurts and all of my pains, and I wore my mask, and I walked the walk, and I talked the talk, and I acted like I was okay, and I went through the motions, and everything on the surface looked so picture perfect, but below the surface was hurts and pains and anger and frustration and wounds, but I was so afraid to talk about it. And I thought keeping my mask on and letting everybody think that on the surface that I was okay was going to keep me safe, but at the end of the day, it was the very prison that was enchaining me, man. And I had to learn the hard way that we're beautifully broken and we're better together. And every single person has stuff. And the more that I don't isolate and don't try to become an island and do this on my own, man, we are better together and we need each other. Every student in here, you need your classmates, you need your friends, you need mentors and teachers and parents in your lives. And even though sometimes, man, we think in our culture we can figure this thing all out, I promise you, you need not only friends on a horizontal plane, you've got to have people in your life on a vertical plane that can speak into your life, that's walked through some challenges in the life, and that can help you from making the same mistakes that maybe they've made. And I used to fight against that, man. I was so against allowing any kind of influential authority figure in my life because I thought they were trying to control me. But now as I turn around on the hindsight, I realize those people were just trying to prevent me from making the same mistakes that they made. And if I could go back and yield to some of those words of wisdom, I promise you I would. But I wore my mask, and I went from middle school to high school, and I compromised myself. And what I mean by that is I gave in to the peer pressure of the people around me. When I went from middle school to high school, I had some great friends in my life. But man, those friends were the popular kids, so I thought I had to change up who I was to fit in. I changed up who I was so all of you would accept me and all of you would like me and I would fit the molds and the types of the people that you thought I was supposed to become. And I walked away from real friends that value me. Biggest mistake in my life. And as I began to hang out with the new crew and the new crowd and the new cliques of kids, they didn't value me. And I'll tell you what, who you spend time with, they will influence your life. And I began to create some terrible habits and how I treated people, because hurting people hurt people. And y'all know that. A lot of us, we can call it bullying, but let's call it what it really is. It's verbal, mental, and emotional abuse, and it's wrong. Hurting people hurt people. And so a lot of times, some of us come to school and we act like we just don't care. And we act like we got this thick skin with this attitude like we're good, we're cool, and we laugh and we pick on kids and we get our friends to laugh at our jokes. But when you yank all the smoke and the mirrors away and it's just you by yourself, you don't like who you see because you're hurting and you don't know how to deal with your hurts and your pain, so you lash out and you hurt people. And for some of us, we battle with thoughts of giving up, suicidal thoughts. I know I did. In school, I wore my mask and I dealt with thoughts and maybe nobody cares about me, nobody believes in me. And I remember when I climbed the ladder and I was on the brink of taking my own life. And for some of us, we turn to self-harm because we wear the mask and we don't know how to deal with our hurts and our pains and our emotions, and we see others doing it, so we turn to self-harm. And others of us, we turn to drugs and to alcohol, and we give into the pressure of wanting to get faded and to get blue back and kind of meet the expectations of what everybody else in my school's doing. And so we gave in, we compromised ourselves because we wanted to fit in. But then we began to realize it was a great coping mechanism, so how I didn't have to deal with my hurts and my pains. And it became how I self-medicated. And I would use the drugs and I would pop the pills and I would do my thing, wanting to hopefully make all the hurts and the pains go away. But the pressure was building and the pressure would bust the pipes, and I would wake up every day just as unhappy. So I go back to the bottle and I go back to the weed and I go back to the pills, trying to always find the reason for my hurts. And see, a lot of us, we wear these masks and it comes out in different ways. And for me, I dealt with all of that. For me, straight A's to straight F's, and you all know the story. A little bit of a reminder, you can't see the picture that well, but it's right here. The picture on your left, you really can't see it at all, but that's me at 18, 19 years old, strung out, tore up from the floor up. I compromised myself, gave in every drug that I could think of, and I found myself kicked out of school. And ultimately, I was involved in a terrible accident. And my friend Priscilla, she lost her life. You know the story, I've been here enough. And I found myself at 23 years old, back against the wall, and not only had my choices and now affected me, and not only had my choices up to this point of being so afraid to use my tools of communicating and talking and reaching up and reaching out and crying out for help and understanding that we're better together and no one's an island, we need each other. Now my choices and my decisions began to spiral out of control, and it affected other families too. And so for all of you that remember this first couple year talks, we went through all of that last year. And I want to state this as we get going today for this next layer, this next level, this thing that I call the 5 that's changed my life. If you're in this room and you're battling with thoughts of giving up, and if you're in this room and behind the mask there's thoughts of maybe nobody cares about me, nobody values me, nobody sees me, I don't see a way out. I don't know how to sugarcoat it, but I just say it. Don't you dare believe the lie. Don't you believe that dying will solve anything. You were born for a purpose. You have a mission in this world. People care about you. And even though sometimes you feel like you're all alone, your feelings can lie to you. Don't you believe the lie that giving up will solve it, because you matter. People care about you. And even though you don't always feel it, your feelings can lie to you. And I can prove it. Because I know sometimes in our culture and this generation, we feel like we're all by ourselves. We feel like nobody understands us. We feel like we're all alone. And let me ask this question. I need every junior and every freshman in this room to own this question. And I don't care about the friends that are around you. This is you and me, and this is real, man. And it is raw. And this is our life, and this is our future. How many of you in here, if you were 100% honest with yourself, truthfully being genuine with your feelings and your emotions, are there times in your story, in your life, do you sometimes feel honestly like nobody understands you? And honestly, sometimes you feel like you're all by yourself. Raise your hand. Hold them high, man. And hands go up all across the room. You know why? Because even though we feel like we're all alone, you're not the only person who feels like that. Hands were everywhere. Many of us feel the way you're feeling. Adults feel the way you're feeling. People feel the way you're feeling. But what you can't do is be impulsive and think that making a forever decision to end it solves it. It doesn't. You're robbing you of your destiny. You're robbing people around you that believe in you. I promise you, there is a fear of talking. But when you begin to talk, and I know there's a fear sometimes of, man, what will happen if I say this? This is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and what if, and what if, and what if? We what if, and this anxiety thing grows. And 99.9% of the times, when you actually talk about it, it never turns out nearly as bad as what you think it is. It's that fear of the unknown. I promise you, I ripped my mask off 10 years ago, man, and I've never experienced more freedom, more success, more peace of mind. I've realized life isn't about just existing. It's about experiencing all that life has for us. And in this room is greatness.